Good morning. Thank you. Someone just said to me that this is a particularly exciting time, and I agree. I always think the most exciting times in university is when the school year starts. I love when the students arrive for a new school year. And this is one of the unique aspects of working for a university. Few jobs have an annual cycle like ours, and certainly fewer as rejuvenating as the arrival of the students is. When I was an accountant, we had an annual cycle. But I can tell you that tax season and its arrival was not nearly as exciting as the students coming back. And in fact, the start of a new audit was even less exciting for people. I can say during my time as an auditor, I never heard, "Oh, thank goodness the auditors are coming back next week, isn't that exciting?" Now, while I've always loved the start of the school year, I'm particularly happy to be here. Thank you so much for the warm welcome you've given to me and my family since we've arrived. We feel very fortunate to be in Rock Hill and at Winthrop University. I want to thank the board members, Janet Smalley, Sue Smith-Rex, and Randy Emler for being here this morning, but also for giving me the opportunity to lead this university. I feel particularly blessed. This morning, I want to talk with you about a few things. I want to share with you my first impressions. As a recent outsider who spent the last 5 months assessing the situation, here's what I see. I know you've been through a lot. You've dealt with recession, you've dealt with budget cuts, and let's just say you've dealt with other issues. It's been tough, but you came through it, and you stuck together, and you never lost your focus on our top priority, which has been and will always remain our students. And I want to say we have Ray and Alex, our student leaders, here this morning. I should point out they're in the front and all the faculty in the back, so they at least are listening to you. That's a good thing. And thankfully, during the last year, you had the leadership of Deborah Boyd. She didn't just coast through the year. She made us move forward as a university, which will make my job much, much easier. And I thank her for that. And despite the challenges, you've had a lot of successes as well. First, let me say this is a beautiful campus. I'll tell you a little story I've told a couple times. When we came here to visit with my family over spring break in March, on the way back, we stopped at my alma mater, Virginia Tech. As we were driving around campus, my daughter Elena said, "Dad, no offense, but this is no Winthrop." Now, my kids rarely agree on everything, but my son Gavin said, "Yeah, she's right." So that gives you a little impression of what they thought of Winthrop and how beautiful it is to someone who's from the outside. I want to thank all those who've been involved in getting us to this point. That includes the past leadership of this institution and those who continue to make our campus look so well. This is an asset for the university and one we should be particularly proud of. Second, Winthrop again stayed in the top 10 in the U.S. News and World Report among the regional public universities in the South, and that's something we should be proud of. Third, last year you were able to lobby the state for additional support. Particularly important is the $2 million to fix the Withers building roof. I was in Ohio for 7 years, and we get exactly $0 and 0 cents for capital expenditures from the state. So I'm appreciative of the effort of those who helped us get the money that we're getting for Withers and the other support that we're getting. Fourth, you've managed to maintain the lowest tuition increases in a very long time over the last 2 years. That creates challenges, but I think it was a good move. Fifth, the quality of the academic programs was again affirmed by accrediting agencies that renewed accreditation for our degree programs in art and design, mass communication, music, human nutrition, and the College of Business Administration, and we should be proud of that as well. Sixth, last year, 183 student athletes had a GPA of 3.0 or better. That's 63% of our student athletes had a 3.0 or better. Never seen anything quite like that before. 25 had a GPA of 4.0. I think that's incredibly impressive. Seventh, once again, the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching recognized Winthrop University with its community engagement classification, something we've had since 2008. Again, I think that's quite an honor. Beyond these successes, I want to emphasize I'm particularly impressed by what students say about you. Pretty much every university campus I've been around will say the same thing. We have a supportive campus. We provide excellent education experiences for our students, and we do an outstanding job in preparing students for life after college. They all say it. The difference at Winthrop is you have the evidence to prove that this is the case. Based on national surveys we participated in, here's what we know. One, students say Winthrop's education provides them students say that Winthrop provides a more supportive environment, more supportive when it comes to academic support, non-academic support, student services, and support for their overall well-being. 2, students report they have more positive, frequent interactions with their faculty. One of the things I saw when I was here during the summer was the student research, the undergraduate student research presentations. They are incredibly impressive. I've been to a lot of academic conferences. I can tell you some faculty do not present as well as our undergraduate students do here. I've been at many research universities throughout my career. Most of them would love to have an undergraduate student research program like the one exists at Winthrop. So you should be, again, particularly proud of that. 3, Winthrop students are more active students. They report participating more in student learning, service learning, attending university events, plays, arts, lectures, and they're more involved in student leadership roles than students at other campuses. 4, Winthrop students get more real-world experiences during their time here. They're more likely to do internships. They're more likely to participate in culminating senior experiences. They report being more globally aware, having more interactions with diversity and exposure to diverse perspectives. They report that they're more informed citizens than students at other universities and that they've developed more job-related skills. 5, students say they developed the skills necessary to be successful after college. There was a recent survey of employers, and 93% said that certain skills were more important than what a student's major was. Those skills were communication skills, critical thinking skills, and problem-solving skills. What our students tell us is that they're more challenged academically, that we do a better job of developing their writing skills, their oral presentation skills, their critical thinking skills, their problem-solving skills. They have more opportunity to work in teams, and there's a strong focus in their education on ethics and values. So the next time someone tells you that a well-rounded liberal arts education like we provide at Winthrop is not valuable, tell them that 93% of employers disagree. That is better than 4 and 5 dentists. Moreover, there's no better proof of the impact that you have on our students than the achievements of the students themselves. I'd like to share with you 3 of what our graduates have accomplished. Destiny Johnson, who just graduated, secured a prestigious Knoll Science Teaching Foundation Fellowship. This foundation develops and supports exemplary science and math high school teaching. In January 2015, Eve Rose Telfort Ismail, who received a BA in Modern Languages from Winthrop, received the International Humanitarian Award in Dublin, Ireland. Eve Rose was recognized for her extraordinary work on the behalf of the people of Haiti. And Marie Majeski, who in 2007 received BAs in Music and Mass Communication, received the Lead Emerging Leader Award from the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Because of you, our graduates are making a difference in their communities and in the world. Of course, I can't take credit for any of this because I wasn't here. But I certainly feel very fortunate to be associated with a university that has achieved so much on behalf of its students. Now let's talk about how we move forward as a university. First, let me say we must be all in. We must take a collaborative approach in preparing for our future. We all bring something different to the discussion, so we all need to be involved. Deborah Vorey talked about the importance of Team Winthrop last year, and that is clearly more relevant now than ever. A priority this year is to develop a clear strategic plan for our future. A strategic plan answers certain questions. What will be our priorities? How will we achieve those priorities? And how will we measure our success? Again, the strategic plan will be an inclusive process, and we work hard to make sure that all perspectives are taken into account. But when I talk about going through a planning process, I want to be clear. I don't mean we're going to stand still for a year and wait for that process to finish. There are certain things we know we have to do. Our top priority, again, will continue to be focusing on our students. For example, we know we have to grow our enrollment. Growing our student population increases tuition revenue and puts resources at our disposal that we can better serve our students with. More important than that, though, why did we get into education in the first place? It was to have an impact. And if students don't come here, or they come and they leave, our impact on them is far less. In fact, those who don't come, we have zero impact on. So if we're going to have the impact that we want, we need to grow our enrollment. However, growing enrollment does not just mean recruiting more students. We also have to be focused on retention and moving students towards graduation more quickly. We will be forming several groups during the next year that will focus on recruiting, retaining, and moving students to graduation. Now, I know sometimes we talk about moving students to graduation more quickly. Sometimes faculty get concerned that means lowering standards. I worked for a guy one time who always reminded me there's a difference between rigor and rigidity. One of those is good, and one of them is not. We'll focus on maintaining the rigor, but try to eliminate some of the rigidity. Some positive steps have been made in recent years, and we need everyone to be involved to continue to move forward. Today, I'm very proud to announce that our enrollment compared to this time last year is up, and we should be proud of that. I can't give you specifics yet on the final numbers since we're still going through the process. All Eduardo tells me is that I can say we're cautiously optimistic. I've been very well trained on that. But I can say our freshman enrollment is trending upward, as is our total enrollment. And again, given everything that's gone on over the last couple of years, we should be proud of that as well. So congratulations to everyone who's been involved in this success. Access and enrollment management is to be commended for their hard work over the last year, as should everyone who makes an impression on our prospective students. That includes faculty and staff who work with them, who are responsible for increasing retention and enhancing the reputation of this university as a student-centered institution. My point is, I can't think of anyone who's not involved in our success in recruiting students and helping them be more successful once they get here. Everyone is involved. When I was at Kent State, our president used to always say over and over again that enrollment is life. That was his favorite phrase over and over again. And he's right. Without enrollment, we cease to exist as a university. However, my good friend Dave Garcia, who was in Eduardo's role, used to say, whenever he says enrollment is life, I feel like my life is on the line. He means mine. So even if I say enrollment is life, Eduardo is safe, because I really see this as a team approach and that everybody gets involved. When I came here for the visit, when I was interviewing, I asked the students why they chose Winthrop. They told me a variety of different stories. One I remembered was a student said she was walking with her parents across campus, kind of lost. This guy came up to him and said, "Can I help you?" and kind of assisted them. That was Roger Weichel, who took the time out of his day to help them. I can tell you with 1,100 students, give or take a few, who come in every year, there's probably 1,100 different stories of people who made that impression, who made that difference. For those who finish, I can tell you there's even more stories about those who helped them along the way, and I certainly, in my own life, could tell you many. In a similar way to our enrollment, we are all involved with fundraising by presenting a university in which others want to invest. And that is an increasingly important source of funding for the university and is an area we all know must grow. It provides critical support to our students and to our university. So we will form another group that will examine how do we build a culture of philanthropy at Winthrop. And just as enrollment is not all on Eduardo, fundraising is not all on Danny and his group. That we all need to be involved in all of these things if we're going to be successful. Another area I want to focus on this year is employee satisfaction and morale. As I mentioned earlier, I understand the difficulties of the past years. In fact, I find it inspiring that you continue to make such positive progress in developing the environment that we have here despite all of those challenges. However, I do understand that things will eventually have an impact if we do not make employee satisfaction a top priority. It's not only the right thing to do, we also know that when people are happier at work, they're more creative, they're more productive, and they're more enthusiastic ambassadors for the university. The Competitive Compensation Committee has already started its work. Next month, I will receive a draft report of their recommendations. We will then take that forward to the board and see how we can implement the suggestions that they've come up with over the last year. However, I know, even from my own research, that compensation is not the only thing that impacts employees and their feelings about an organization. Along with a fair salary, people want a good environment in which their opinions are respected and their work is valued. You're committed to Winthrop and its students. We need to be committed to you. There will be another group focused specifically on this area as well, and see what we can do beyond with the recommendations of the Compensation Committee to support our faculty and staff in a variety of ways. I also believe that promoting the university needs greater attention. If we can improve our public profile and tell our story better, we will have more prospective students interested in a Winthrop education, and the pride of our stakeholders will grow, and hopefully so will their donations. I know that some people, I've been around the university for a while, think marketing and branding are bad words. I don't. I think they're a necessity, and I think in the modern day for education, we need to embrace those. While I'm emphasizing the importance of increasing revenue, I want to be clear that Winthrop University is fiscally strong. The institution is in a better position because of the hard work and even harder choices made before me. I again want to thank Deborah for her difficult decision to reduce budgets last year and all the hard work that many of you put into looking at your budgets and making those hard decisions. Now I believe We're in a better position than many institutions because of the past decisions that you made. Again, thank you for that. Still, I think we need to review how we go about developing our budget to ensure we're making the most of the resources we have. Again, we'll be forming another group to consider how we best budget our resources going forward in the future. While I'm optimistic about the future, I need to be clear that challenges lie ahead. During the interview, they asked me what was my least favorite part of being a dean. I frankly struggled. I loved being a dean, and I loved being a president. I liked the role. But when I had time to reflect on it, it became very clear to me I knew what it was. It was all the times I had to say no to good ideas. On an everyday basis, every week basis, I would have many people coming to me and saying, this is a good idea, and you just need to invest this. The problem in leadership roles is that most people think that what we do is we sit there and say, okay, these are the good ideas, these are the bad ideas, we don't do the bad ideas, and we do and fund the good ideas. The problem and the challenge is there's probably 100 good ideas and we have money for 10 of them. The prioritizing is the most difficult part. And the saying no is the part I like the least. But I know it's a necessity because if I don't, I will bankrupt you very, very quickly. That's just the reality. In fact, I heard a story once about a university was developing their strategic plan, got a committee together, did a wonderful job. The president said, this is beautiful. Problem is you'll bankrupt us 2 times over if we implement this plan. They went back to the drawing board. They came back a couple years later, and the president said, this is better, but it still bankrupt us 1 time over. It took them 3 times before they could develop a plan that they could actually afford to implement. I'm hoping that we don't have to go through 3 cycles. I'm hoping we can do it in 1. But that means if you're going to be all in on the strategic plan and all those committees I just talked about, you have to understand this reality and provide us feedback on what should be our top priorities as we try to achieve the goals that we established for Winthrop University. And that also means determining which ones are not, so we can avoid those 3 cycles. So what is my commitment in this process? 1, I will be inclusive. There will be lots of opportunities to be involved for everyone, whether you're on a committee or not. I will always listen, even if the decision we make is different than what you recommend. 2nd, we will be transparent. I believe in sharing as much information as possible. Now, legally, sometimes there are things I can't share. Sometimes there's timing issues. Sometimes sharing a draft a little too early can cause panic that's unnecessary. But as much as possible, I want to share information, and if I have it, I want to make it available. We want to be accountable. We will have clear goals, clear measurements for the future, and we will continually assess our success based on those goals. Finally, I will be out and I will be visible. I believe a university president in 2015 needs to avoid spending too much time behind their desk, so I will be out on campus, I will be in the local community and beyond. It is likely this will change how I allocate my time, but I believe this is critical and necessary for today's universities. Now, back to the beginning. The students are coming, and they're coming soon. In fact, some of them are here already. In a few days, during convocation, I will offer words of welcome to our incoming freshmen. Then my wife, Laura, and our children will lead one of the Winthrop's oldest traditions, the Blue Line. The Blue Line connects our past with our present and future. I hope you can all join us for that. I think it will be an exciting event and an exciting day. Before we leave, I'd like to thank you once again for everything you do for Winthrop and our students. I'm so excited to be leading Team Winthrop, but it's you who make our future so bright. We're going to have a great year, and I'm excited to be part of it, and thank you very much for listening to me. We're now going to go to the Tuttle Dining Room for a reception, and I ask you all to join us there. Hope to talk to you there. Thank you.